This is what I call an anatomy of a spreadsheet. This is the Collins number 1 well, and if this well is in your system, you'll want to have the well name, the well number, and the legal description. This will identify the well in case you have other wells with similar names. You want to review the source of the title opinion, so you want the date if you want to put the attorney's name. Sometimes our companies will change attorneys, so we'll use the attorney name, the date, and if there is a supplemental opinion, you would want to add any supplemental opinions that you use to update your spreadsheet. That way, if someone comes behind you and they open up this spreadsheet, they will see what materials you reviewed and if the supplemental has been incorporated into the spreadsheet. You notice here that I have all of the leases and I have the acres that are in the lease. So lease C is a Collins lease, has 400 acres. The Bell lease has 120 acres and the Adams lease has 160 acres. You want to make sure that your acreage totals your unit. So this well is 680 acres and it comprises of 3 tracts. Now we want to go to the right and set up our working interest owners, and for simplicity's sake we have 3 working interest owners, 3 leases, and they each own 100% of their lease. So here we have White House. White House owns 100% of the Adams lease. Liberty Drilling has 100% of the Bell lease. Martini Oil has 100% of the Collins lease. And you notice I've added a total column. I have had some wells have 30 working interest owners. I will pull the lease ownership from my title opinion, and I might have to key in what the lease ownership is across maybe 30 columns. If I have a total column, that tells me that I've keyed the information in correctly. So we always want to have a total column. So now I drop down to the ownership of the overrides. We just have one override in this well. It's Rockyhound, and Martini is the owner of the Martini is the working interest owner that is burdened by Rockyhound. These leases are burdened by the working interest owner. So White House is burdened by the A lease. Liberty is burdened by the Bell lease. And Martini is burdened by the C lease, the Collins lease. Now notice here that I have the working interest owners' acres. White House has 160 acres. We know that they have 100% of 160. Now you'll notice that I did not hard key that number in. We never want to hard key a number in unless it never changes, like a unit size. So I'm going to show you my calculation here is I took in column H, row 10, times column F, row 10, plus row 11, plus row 12. The purpose of this is I am putting in the formula for every line of every lease, whether they own in the lease or not. And this way I can just copy this formula to my other partners. So say I have 30 partners and I've gone to this trouble, and you might have, 15 or more lines that you're going to have to do this work. But if you input this information one time, and then you can copy it over to your partners, and it's just going to pick up whatever is in that cell that applies. Notice here that it's picking up this row, 120 acres. Here it's picking up row 10. Anything 0 times anything is going to be 0. So if there is no number here, it is not going to calculate. Now we're going to calculate our gross working interest. So we have our acres divided by the unit. Notice that I hard keyed in the unit acres, and I've rounded it 7 places. And then I'm going to copy that formula to my partners. And so it will pick up whatever is in that cell divided by the unit. Now we're going to drop down and we're going to put in our royalty owners. So I've played around with these names, but we know that this is the Adams lease, and this is the Bell lease, and this is the Collins lease. So we have 120 acres in the A lease, 200 in the B lease. I'm sorry, that is incorrect. A lease is 160, and the B lease is 120. I think I was playing with this earlier and I didn't update it. And then we have the Collins lease, which is 400. And we're going to go down and we're going to put Rockingham. Rockingham is the C lease, 400 acres. So notice that I went in here and corrected my acres. All the lease royalty is 1/8 for each of these leases. So that's going to calculate the decimal in the well. So I have acres divided by the unit times the 1/8 royalty. White House is burdened by lease A. So let's see if that picks up lease A. It does. And then I'm copying down. So that's for lease B. And that is for lease C. So then I can just copy and carry it over to my partners. Now the total royalty share, all I've done is calculated everything that is in the royalty column and totaled. And I copy that formula to my next partners. And then we have a total column. We know our gross working interest totals 100%. We want to make sure our unit acres totals 680. And then our royalty totals 1/8, 0.125. So if all the partners' leases are 1/8, then that means the total in the unit is going to be 1/8. Now we're going to do Rockingham. Notice that their lease percentage that was assigned to them was 0.125 or 1.25%. So this is their revenue decimal in the well. So their acres divided by the unit times the override percentage on the lease. That gives them their revenue decimal in the well. Now Martini is burdened by Rockingham's override, so we're going to move this into Martini's column. Liberty is not burdened by this override, and neither is White House. Then we're going to total the override for each of the partners. And once we have that done, then we go down to the net working interest. This is going to be the revenue. So this will be the dollars. So this is what I call the money decimal. So I'm going to change that to green. So that tells you it's money. And I'm going to bold it. Okay, so this is what that partner will see on the check detail. So I'm going to show you how to split screen so we can always see the working interest owner. So we're going to go to View and Freeze Panes. We're going to freeze the top and the columns. Now watch how when I drop down that I can see who that working interest owner is. So we know that White House's net working interest in the well is 258823. And how did I know that? I took their gross working interest, which is an H17, that's column H, line 17 minus the total royalty minus the overrides. And I'm going to copy that formula to my partners, and it's going to carry over the same formula. The reason I like this format is we drill more than one well in a section. And sometimes partners in the second well may farm out or maybe go non-consent. This spreadsheet, everything is driven by the override and the lease percentage. Since I have put in the formula for every line, say we have White House who decided to share 25% of their lease to Liberty Drilling. On our second well, I could just go in here. Now I want you to watch the working interest acres and see what happens. And I'm going to change this to 25. Notice how everything changed here. The gross changed, their share of royalty changed, and their net working interest changed. All I had to do was change the ownership of that one lease, and it flowed through my spreadsheet. This saved me from having to build another spreadsheet and spending a lot of time building another spreadsheet when all I had to do was go in and change these numbers. Now, I just wanted to show you this little system I have, and you're welcome to try it in your day-to-day work, and if not, that's okay too. But what I like about this spreadsheet is if someone leaves the company and this is saved in their system and another analyst comes behind them, and it may be a lot more complicated than this well, and they want to go in and see, you know, say you've got a royalty owner that is complaining about their decimal, and you want to go see what did they do. And maybe that royalty owner will say, my lease is not 1/8, it's an 1875 or 3/16. You can go to the title opinion. The attorney may have made a typographical error on the royalty rate in the opinion. So you would want to go back to the back of the opinion and find the actual lease that is stated. And if that royalty rate agrees with what that royalty owner says, say we have Bell that called, I can just go in here and change his royalty rate to 1875, and it will automatically change. And it's also going to change my working interest decimal. So this is why I like this spreadsheet. And that's all I have today. Thank you very much.